Hey everyone, it's Carissa at Sprinkled with Glitter. Thanks for joining me today. I have something a little bit different for you. I'm going to be creating some letter tabbed planner dividers, and I'm going to be using these new dies from the Essentials by Ellen line. Now these are unique in that this line here only creates a score line, not a cut line. So it allows those letters to open up on your card front or treat bag or whatever that might be. And all of these create that score line. Now these are a great size. They're about 3/4 of an inch by 3/4 of an inch, of course, depending on your letter, because some letters are bigger than others, right? But all of them have the hinge, and the hinge is on the right side as we look at them now, but when they are on the card front or your project, that hinge will be on the left-hand side and it will open up like a book. Now I grabbed my die snips and I grabbed the letters that I'm going to be using for today, and I'm going to spell out plans. And while this post is not about my planner, I thought some of you would ask, so I'm going to share a couple of details here. I have some charms on my planner. These are from Hello Simple Paper. I use the Louis Vuitton medium ring agenda cover. Now this is my planner as is. I have not taken anything out. I have not edited this in any way. This is my working planner and this is how I use it. I use the inserts from So Much Crafting on Etsy. I use the weekly inserts and I like those because they fit those Erin Condren sticker box stickers that they make. This is a blank week here. You can see all the days of the week are the same size. Those foiled planner stickers that you see, I make those myself. So, and maybe I can show you that in a video tutorial, and maybe more about my planner in a video tutorial as well. Now I did create a video tutorial on these dividers here. In the back of my planner, I keep some various information, like some sketches, some stuff on my blog, some stuff on work, and then a few sheets of stickers that I use often to schedule appointments, and then of course some junk back there. This pin is from Pin Gems, and be sure to check the links at YouTube as well as over at my blog, because I'll have links to this stuff, or at least links to the shops where you can find it. Now, I started out by measuring my already made dividers, which is what I did when I created those original foiled dividers that you saw. And I printed out a pattern onto some Essentials by Ellen 43-pound vellum because I'm going to be including a little bit of foiling. Now I did leave extra room on my width for these to accommodate for the width of the letters because they are a little bit wider than the tabs that I created on the divider earlier. And for my different tabs, it's going to spell out the word plans as it goes down. So I've gone ahead and lined that up onto the vellum that I've cut down to the size that I need. And I'm going to use a piece of this Frog Delicate Surface Painter's Tape to hold all those letters in place as I do all of my die cutting. So you can see I have that all there. I'm going to take a few sheets of my vellum and I'm going to stack them up and cut a few sheets at one time. So I have those letters secured in place with that Delicate Surface Painter's Tape, and I have a few layers of my vellum, and I'm going to run it through my die cut machine. Now, if you're having a hard time cutting through multiple layers of vellum, you might find the precision base plate helpful in this situation. So once I have these cut, I am going to take my trimmer and I am going to cut up through all the letters except for the P. I'm going to stop at the score line that was created, and then I'm going to skip that letter and cut from the top to the top of the score line at the P. Now for the next piece, I'm going to cut all the way up to the L. I'm going to skip over the L, and then I'm going to cut up to the top once again. And this trimmer, because I can see exactly where I'm cutting, makes this trimming process really easy. You could also use a metal ruler and like an X-Acto knife to do this trimming as well. So once I was sure that this was all going to work, they were all going to be the same size, and it was, you know, my plan was going to work, because it doesn't always, you know. I went ahead and cut the rest of these, die cut the rest of these, and you can see I've left those dies right on that painter's tape so that I get these lined up in the exact place every time. Now, because I've printed that pattern on the bottom of my vellum using my laser printer, I can add some foiling to the bottom of these. Now, this wasn't the best pattern for foiling because it's not a super solid pattern. It doesn't put a lot of toner down. but that toner, when ran through this laminator, reactivates and causes that foil to stick to it. And I'll have more information about this in my previous video where I did the foiled planner dividers. So I'll go into a little bit more detail on the foiling over there, and I'll be sure to link it here, throw in a card at YouTube so you can check that out. Now, I did want to add a little bit of color to these letters, and I thought it would be fun to do kind of an ombre effect. So I'm using some Copic markers in an ombre color scheme, and I am just coloring right on the back side of those letters. I'm using the back side because you get a little smoother finish when you look through the vellum to the ink rather than coloring on the top side, because you can get a little bit streaky when you're coloring on the vellum, but since you're looking through the vellum, it tends to kind of diffuse that and make it a little smoother. Now, on all of these, I went through and I colored them in various shades of red and pink. You can see that kind of ombre effect that I'm getting down those planner dividers there. I decided at first that I had used an RV marker on that top P, and it was just too purple for the rest of them. And never fear, I did not have to redo the entire divider. All I did was flip it over, and I removed that ink using an alcohol pad. These are, what you would use if you were to, say, give yourself a shot, or they're just alcohol prep pads. You can get them at any drugstore. And I just wiped off that alcohol-based marker using that alcohol prep pad, and then I recolored it in the color that I decided would be better. So now I have all of my dividers foiled, they're trimmed, and of course I did the trimming in the same way for all of them. And now I'm going to put them in some 5mm laminator sheets and run them through my laminator again. And this is going to add a nice layer over them, a protective coating. It's going to make them a little bit sturdier because I carry my planner everywhere. It is not babied, it is thrown around, it's used. And so I need these to be nice and sturdy. I mean, I don't abuse it, guys, but you know what I mean. It goes with me. So once I got those laminated, I once again used my trimmer to trim off the excess laminating material. And then for around the letters, I did use some scissors to kind of get in close to those letters. You can trim these as far or as little as you want. So once those were laminated and trimmed out, I went ahead and punched them with my 6-hole punch that coordinates with my planner. And then I like to use my scissors to snip into that hole. And what that allows me to do is quickly place this into my planner without opening the rings. And then when I want to pull it out, all I have to do is kind of rip it out. I do this with all of my planner inserts so that everything comes out and in really easily. So that finishes up my letter tabbed ombre planner dividers. Lots of words to describe it there. And I just thought this was a really fun and different way to use some of our card making products to create something for our planner. Remember, you can use these on treat bags, on cards, on scrapbook pages. I really think these dies are very versatile. So here's a final look at the projects. As always, I will have links to the featured supplies in the description at YouTube. But head on over to my blog at sprinkledwithglitter.com because I will have more still shots, more information, and links to all of the supplies used in these products. As always, thanks for stopping by. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. And until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.